We're going to make a tier list based on the most intimidating specs to see in arenas in season 4 of Dragonflight. This idea was given to me by Reflex, and I'm really excited to do this. Now, just to give you a little bit of background on me, I've been mostly healing throughout Dragonflight. I dabbled in a little bit of Warrior. I just started picking up Hunter, but this is going to be kind of from a healer perspective. So the most intimidating specs in Dragonflight. S tier is going to be the most scary. I don't want to see them on the other team specs, and D is just going to be like, I'm not worried about having that person on the other team. So let's get started off with Blood Death Knight. I don't see enough for them to really be scary, putting them in D. Frost Death Knight. These are so scary because they have that one-shot potential, but I would not say that they are just insanely scary to the point where they belong in S tier. It's pretty easy to counter, and it's very obvious that it's coming. As long as you manage your cooldowns correctly, you're probably okay. Unholy Death Knights, I would say, are probably right there with Frost Death Knights, just with more pressure. I'm going to put them a little bit lower than Frost Death Knights. I would say that Frost Death Knights are a little bit scarier. Then we've got Havoc Demon Hunter. As a healer, this is the scariest freaking thing to see you training down. Even if you're amazing at kiting, it is so hard to avoid having this just run you down. They do so much damage, so much cleave damage. It's actually insane. They definitely belong in S tier. Vengeance Demon Hunters, same thing. I haven't seen that many. Boomies are definitely a scary class to have on the other team. Cyclones are insane. Damage is insane. I wouldn't put them up in S tier because it's easy to, well, I guess it depends on what heal you're playing. But they're easy to avoid. I would think that most people would agree that they're scary to have on the other team. Feral, I'm going to put them at C tier. Obviously, really good Ferals can be really scary, but when I see one on the other team, I'm not super worried about the Feral. I'm just looking to stop Cyclones. Guardian Druid, same thing. I'm not ever worried if I see them on the other team. All right, Resto Druids. So when it comes to healers, I'm going to be kind of more worried about their offensive pressure. And unless you're like markers, I'm not super worried about having a Resto Druid on the other team. They can be very disruptive. I'd probably put them in C tier above Feral. Really, it's just they have insane throughput, and that's kind of annoying. But I like, even though they're one of the best healers, it's not something that I'm like, I see a Resto Druid on the other team, and I'm not looking forward to the arena. I'm not too worried about them. Devastation Evoker. The burst damage from full health is kind of insane, but they do need a good teammate with them. I wouldn't say they're not as scary as Frosty K's. I feel like it belongs up here with Frosty K though, because especially if they're paired together, obviously. I mean, even the regular just damage is kind of crazy. I would say I'm probably don't like seeing. Yeah, I would say I'm more scared of a Devastation Evoker than Unholy. I think that's pretty fair. I would say Preservation Evoker is probably the most scary healer to see on the enemy team. Now, I do play a Resto Shaman, so you've got the roots and the static, which really counters them. So I don't fear them too bad, but I think B tier. We may come back and revisit that. Beast Mastery Hunter, I would say, is probably the least scary of the 3 Hunter specs. I think B tier. Like, I really just hate Hunters in general. The stun into his freezing trap that you just can't stop is so annoying, but I would say it's probably the least scary. Survival Hunter is probably this. Well, no, it's not the scariest of the 3 Hunter specs. I'm going to put Survival Hunter at the top of B tier. When they do a lot of damage, they definitely can be very, very intimidating. I would say they're more scary in 2s than 3s, but like when they're with a Cupid or something like that, oh my goodness, they definitely can be scary. Marksman Hunter is up here. I'm almost debating putting on S tier. They're intimidating in the fact that they can like come out and do one-shot damage out of stealth, and you have to be so ready for it. I don't think they belong in S tier, but yeah, I would say even higher than Frost DK. Arcane Mages. I'm just thinking of how it would feel if I saw an Arcane Mage on the other team. I've had thousands of games played in solo shuffle this season, and they're definitely scary, but like if I just went into a game, saw an arcane mage on the other team, I'm not that worried. Fire mage is probably right there with arcane mage. Combustion's scary, but nothing like insanely scary. It depends on what I'm playing with. If I'm playing with the pet classes and I know their living bombs are going to be going insane, then they're scarier. But I would say just in general, B tier is pretty fair. Frost Mage, I'm not too scared about, honestly. I don't think they're bad. It's something I can deal with. You can dispel the whatever their frost move is, interrupt the ray of frost. Not too worried. Mistweaver, it depends, dude. If it's a Fistweaver, dude, I'm scared because they're playing Ret Warrior or Ret DH or whatever, DK. I don't know. Fistweavers are so scary. Casted Mistweaver is not scary, like at all, really. In terms of their offensive pressure. Obviously, if you're a really good Mistweaver, you can control the game really well. But again, like if I'm facing a Casted Weaver, I'm not so worried. If it's Fistweaver, I'm going to put them up here in S tier because when they are fist weaving with a melee cleave, it can just be so scary. Brewmaster, you don't see them. Windwalker up here in S tier. They have, like, if you've been a part of my stream and watched my games, every time I see a Windwalker on the other team, I'm like, dude, we have to stop Serenity. Honestly, they might be scarier than Demon Hunters. They're scarier than Demon Hunters during Serenity. They're less scary than Demon Hunters the rest of the time. Windwalkers are just insanely scary to me. Holy Paladins. Holy Paladins are just kind of here with every other healer, in my opinion. I would say they're more scary than a Arrestor Druid, but not by much. They're not doing a lot of damage, really. At least I haven't had that experience. They can be, like, if they're played by a really good player, they can be really annoying, though, with Repent, Searing Glare, Denounce, all that. Protection Paladin, again, I haven't really seen them. Ret is all dependent on who they're playing with, I feel like. I think people are probably going to disagree with me, but I'm going to put them like at the top of B tier. Discipline Priests. Okay, I was talking about healers earlier, kind of all being in the same spot. I would say the two priests are actually the scarier of the specs. I'm going to put them right up here with Preservation Evoker. Actually, no, I would say priests are scarier than Preservation Evoker. That's actually a really hard call because as a Resto Shaman, when the Preservation Evoker like purges all my buffs, Earth Shield and all that stuff, it's really scary. But then I have the counters for it. I don't know. Holy Priest is definitely scarier. I'm going to put a Holy Priest in A. Their offensive capabilities to burst to help with a kill is really scary, alongside of being able to chastise into a fear. So annoying. Shadow Priests. Shadow Priests are a spec I don't know enough about to like really. I am scared. Unholy DK S tier. You think Unholy DK S tier? Dude, I don't know, man. I would say Unholy DK is very dependent on what they're playing with. Shadow Priests are kind of like that too. Like, dude, I hate seeing Shadow play. I feel like just alone they're not that scary because like they can just be trained, but they also are very tanky if they're played well. But when I see one on the other team, am I that worried? Not really. I feel like B's getting a little crowded. I would say scarier than the mages. Yeah. Dude, Assassination Rogue. S-Priest is just so AIDS because they do not die. Yeah, I 100% agree. Dude, Assassination Rogue is up here in the S tier. Does anyone disagree with that? Freaking Assassination Rogues right now are just, they do so much like not AoE damage, but cleave damage. They just can rot the whole team while they have so much control. You say bottom S tier, top A tier for Assass. Yeah, I would say maybe I'm not as scared as like these three specs, but Assassination's super scary. And just for those of you who've just joined, this is Fistweaver specifically here. They are melee affliction, exactly. Outlaw, honestly, I'm not too worried about Outlaw. I haven't really seen any recently. I think it's just because Assassination's so good. But I would say rogues are just like annoying because if they're played well, they can do a lot. It's weird. Is it weird to put sub above Outlaw? I don't know. Outlaw is legit just a tank. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't faced enough Outlaw to really mess with it. Subtlety is not like super scary by itself either. Like honestly, dude, this might be like super troll, but I'm not super scared of rogues right now. Obviously, if you have a really, really good rogue, they can like 100 OU once they get your trinket or whatever, but I'm not super scared of rogues right now. Again, this is coming from a healer's perspective. Elemental shaman. These are, so as a restoration shaman specifically, I don't fear them too much. The one-shot builds are crazy, but you can just grounding as soon as you see the primordial wave and stop all the damage and then dispel a flame shock, and you're usually good. I hate them because they're annoying as fuck. They definitely don't belong in S tier, but they can be really scary. They can be really scary. And again, I feel like it depends on who they play with. Age Priest main. I think I'm gonna put, I gotta think about this for a minute, because I wanna put it in like in perspective, or like in I want to give consideration to where I have everybody else. I would say Ellie Shaman's, yeah, maybe right under Boomy. I think I like that. Enhancement Shaman is not scary, except for in Turbo, in my experience. Yeah, I think that's good for Enhancement Shaman. Enhanced Demo's fire and Enhanced Boomy's all right. I'm just making conclusions based on what I've seen, and you don't see that many, so that's hard to like really judge them. Like, I have played thousands of games, but I have not seen that many Enhancement Shamans. Restoration Shamans, I'm not scared. They're right here with Restor Druids. They're not providing that much offensive pressure. They're just really good at healing, right? And this is my main class, so it could just be because I know the toolkit so well that I'm not worried about facing them. But I don't think Restoration Shamans are that scary. Affliction locks right now, I don't know what happened, because it feels like within the past couple weeks they've just become insanely more scary. Definitely below Assassinate. Yeah, that's perfect right there. I think affliction locks are just, they don't like burst a single person down. They don't have like that kill pressure on one target, but you can just have your entire team dying, you know, in a matter of seconds, and it's so hard to heal through. Demonology, I think people are gonna kind of troll me on this, but I'm gonna put Demonology on B tier. Why can't I go above the Ret? I think they're probably no, they're not as scary as Rets. I'd say scarier than Survival. And then Destro, I think it belongs on A tier as well, right here alongside the Ellie Shaman. Yeah, I like that. I have a hard time deciphering between the three Warlock specs, but I definitely think Affliction is the scariest to face on average. Even though I think Destruction has the most single target kill pressure, Affliction is so much harder to deal with as a healer than Destruction. Now for the Warriors. Dude, Warriors aren't scary right now. Again, there's certain comps that are just really terrible to face with Warriors in them. Ret Warriors not fun. Like in solo shuffle, Warriors are really good and scary because of their mortal strikes, but I don't know, man. I think they belong right next to each other though. I think they're like almost exact same. They're scary because of the mortal strike, and that's pretty much it. I think I'm gonna put them over here by the Rets, and then Prot Warrior down here because we don't see any. All right, what do you guys think about this tier list? What do you think I got wrong? What do you think I got right? You guys have any opinions on this tier list? I think it's pretty fair. Does anything else belong in S tier? I'm thinking about moving Assassination Rogue up to S tier now that I've seen the whole tier list, because I do think Assassination Rogues, I hate seeing them on the other team. There's nothing else that I like hate seeing as much. It's crazy how much melee is up here. Are there any casters that belong in S tier? I can't think of any. I mean, I do feel like there's really strong casters now too. I think some people might put like Boomies up there, but that hasn't been my experience. I think maybe my DKs are too high. I think Frost DK might be a little too high, huh? I think we're gonna stick with this though. Let me know down in the comments what you think about this tier list and where you would place specs if you think I got them in the wrong place. And make sure you like and subscribe to the channel if you like to see more content like this.